Heed this message now, chosen one. I am Archangel Michael, divine warrior of light and bearer of the celestial sword of truth. My words pierce the veil between dimensions to reach you in this critical moment. Stop what you are doing. Pay attention. The next 2 hours will alter the trajectory of your divine purpose. Your spirit was drawn to this message by sacred design. This is not coincidence or algorithm. It is divine appointment. The Angelic Council has authorized this direct transmission because what I am about to reveal has been deliberately hidden from your awareness until this exact moment in your timeline. Type AMEN to acknowledge receipt of this divine transmission and to activate the blessing code 1444 over your life. The heartbreaking secret I must unveil concerns a spiritual plot against your destined breakthrough. While you have been faithfully walking your path, powerful entities have been gathering in the spiritual realms, conspiring to delay the manifestation of your divine inheritance. They have seen your light, recognized your potential, and grown fearful of what happens when you step fully into your power. Listen carefully. Behind closed doors, your name has been spoken in whispers by those who claim to support your journey, but secretly work to undermine it. These are not merely human forces, but spiritual principalities operating through individuals who have positioned themselves as allies in your life. The betrayal cuts deeper than you realize. In the last 72 hours, a covenant was made against your advancement. I have witnessed the sealing of this dark agreement, papers signed, hands shaken, backdoor conversations that would shake you to your core if you had heard them with your physical ears. But I stand now as witness and divine intercessor. Your breakthrough has been scheduled for cancellation through a series of carefully orchestrated disappointments designed to make you question your calling, doubt your worth, and ultimately surrender your divine assignment. Type reveal to activate the unveiling of these hidden adversaries and to receive blessing code 2222 for divine protection. Do not be alarmed by sudden revelations about people you trusted. When mask removing season arrives, it often brings shock and temporary pain. This exposure is not punishment but protection. I am removing harmful influences before you enter the next sacred chamber of your destiny. The sacred scrolls concerning your life were opened in the courts of heaven at the exact moment you encountered this message. Your name is written in luminous script that cannot be erased by human hands or demonic schemes. The Angelic Council has reviewed your soul contract and confirmed that you are entering a pivotal 2-hour window for reclamation and restoration. Feel the energy shifting around you even now. Perhaps a sudden chill, a warmth in your chest, or an unexplained emotion rising. These are confirmation signals that this message is specifically encoded for your spirit. Your angels have been instructed to intensify their presence around you during this 2-hour period. The heartbreaking aspect of this secret is not just the betrayal itself, but how close you came to missing your divine appointment. Had this intervention been delayed by even 24 hours, certain contracts would have been spiritually binding in ways that would have taken years, not months, to unravel. Let me speak plainly about what has been happening in the unseen realms. Every prayer you've uttered, every tear you've shed, every moment of faithful persistence despite devastating setbacks, all have been recorded. Nothing has been wasted. But your adversaries have been counting on your weariness, anticipating that you would surrender just before your breakthrough. Type justice to activate the celestial courts on your behalf and to receive blessing code 3333 for divine vindication. In this critical 2-hour window, I am dispatching legions of warrior angels to surround your spiritual territory. They are reclaiming stolen ground, restoring hidden blessings, and establishing new protective boundaries that cannot be breached by those who sought your downfall. Your name has been called in the assembly of the righteous. The ancient scrolls containing your true identity and purpose have been unsealed at this hour. What was meant to be hidden from you is now being revealed layer by layer as you continue receiving this transmission. The orchestrated attacks against your peace, your provision, your relationships, your health, and your clarity of purpose were not random. They were strategic attempts to derail you from claiming your divine inheritance. The enemy of your soul recognized the enormity of your calling before you fully grasped it yourself. Do you feel the resonance of these words in your spirit? The sudden knowing that explains the otherwise inexplicable resistance you've encountered? The pieces are falling into place now, revealing a pattern that was previously obscured from your consciousness. Within the next 2 hours, expect the first tangible sign of this divine intervention. It may manifest as an unexpected message, a sudden reversal of circumstances, a moment of unusual clarity, or the strange withdrawal of someone who has been secretly undermining your progress. When this sign appears, recognize it as confirmation that the angelic operation on your behalf is actively unfolding. The particular heartbreak I must address involves someone close to you, someone you believed was divinely connected to your purpose. I cannot speak their name, as free will remains a sacred boundary even angels must respect. But in your heart, a name or face is surfacing now. This revelation brings pain, but also necessary liberation. Their assignment in your life was temporary, not permanent. Their departure is not failure, but divine protection. Type discernment. To activate heightened spiritual perception and to receive blessing code 4444 for wisdom beyond human understanding. Exactly 43 days ago, a meeting took place in which your name was specifically mentioned. Plans were made to systematically disconnect you from your support systems and divine resources. What appeared as bad luck or unfortunate timing was in fact meticulously engineered to break your resolve and redirect your energy away from your true calling. I reveal this not to cultivate fear or paranoia, but to awaken righteous indignation, holy anger that fuels decisive action rather than destructive reaction. The appropriate response to betrayal is not vengeance, but accelerated obedience to your divine directive. In the courts of heaven, I have presented evidence of this conspiracy against your purpose. The verdict has been rendered in your favor. In this 2-hour window, reclamation orders are being issued and dispatched to every area where theft has occurred in your life. What was stolen shall be restored sevenfold. Where doors were wrongfully closed, new portals of opportunity are being established that no human hand can shut. The divine timeline of your life is being recalibrated to account for and redeem the seasons of delay and disruption. Feel the weight lifting from your shoulders even as you receive these words. The heaviness you've carried was never meant to be yours. It was strategically placed upon you by those who understood that an unburdened chosen vessel moves quickly toward their divine appointment. The particular heartbreaking secret I must reveal concerns the divine bloodline from which your spirit descends. You are not merely called, you are cosmically appointed. Your spiritual DNA carries codes and keys that unlock specific chambers in the heavenly realms. This is precisely why such coordinated effort has been directed at blocking your awareness and advancement. Those who plotted against you recognize something in you that you have not fully recognized in yourself. They saw the dormant power awaiting activation. They identified the sealed reservoirs of anointing that, once released, will transform not only your life, but countless lives connected to your divine purpose. Type awakening to activate the sealed anointings over your life and to receive blessing code 5555 for supernatural acceleration. Within these critical 2 hours, I am authorized to break specific curses that have been spoken over your life. Words of limitation, failure, and disqualification that have adhered to your spiritual atmosphere and created resistance to your forward movement. These words, some spoken decades ago, are now being nullified and replaced with divine declarations of your true identity and destiny. Listen carefully. When this 2-hour window concludes, you will enter a 7-day period of unusual clarity and divine orchestration. Opportunities will align. Resources will appear. Helpers will emerge from unexpected places. This is not coincidence, but cosmic coordination, the universe responding to the restored order of your divine timeline. The heartbreaking secret also involves a celestial inheritance that has been deliberately prevented from reaching you. Spiritual resources assigned to your bloodline and divine purpose were diverted through complex webs of deception. This explanation illuminates the persistent sense of almost but not quite that has characterized critical junctures in your journey. I stand now at the sealed vault containing your inheritance. The angelic guards recognize my authority as I present the divine mandate for its release. The combination lock requires specific sequences. This is why I have instructed you to type specific words of activation. Each response has turned another tumbler in the lock, securing your provision. Feel the shift in the atmosphere around you. Perhaps a subtle change in temperature, an unexpected sound, or a spontaneous wave of emotion. These physical manifestations confirm that the spiritual transmission is actively recoding your reality, even as you continue receiving these words. The specific individuals involved in this conspiracy against your destiny will be dealt with according to a divine justice. Some will be removed from your path entirely. Others will be confronted with their actions and given opportunity for genuine repentance. Still others will find their own plots redirected back upon their circumstances. This is not vengeance, but restoration of cosmic order. What was meant for your harm is being systematically converted into catalysts for your advancement. The very weapons formed against you are being confiscated and reforged into tools for building your divine assignment. Type restoration to activate the complete reclamation of your spiritual territory and to receive blessing code 6666 for multiplication of everything the enemy has stolen. Within this crucial 2-hour window, pay careful attention to unusual signs in your environment. A particular animal appearing unexpectedly, a repeated number sequence, a specific song or message that seems to follow you across multiple platforms. These synchronicities are confirmation markers, breadcrumbs on the path of verification that this divine intervention is physically manifesting in your realm. The heartbreaking secret cuts deeper still. Those who conspired against you did so because they recognize that your awakening threatens ancient systems of control. Your specific divine assignment includes dismantling outdated paradigms and establishing new frameworks of truth and justice. This makes you particularly threatening to those who benefit from existing power structures, both seen and unseen. I must speak with divine authority about your specific role in this cosmic hour. You were not placed on Earth merely to survive its challenges or accumulate its treasures. You entered this dimension as a transformative agent carrying specific frequency codes that, when fully activated, will catalyze awakening in countless others. This is why the opposition has been so persistent and precisely targeted. This is why certain relationships mysteriously dissolved when you began speaking your truth more boldly. This is why resources were mysteriously delayed despite clear prophetic promises. The strategy was to isolate you from your support systems and exhaust your resolve through prolonged waiting. But here is the glorious revelation within this heartbreaking secret. What your adversaries failed to understand is that isolation accelerates purification and waiting cultivates supernatural strength. What was meant to weaken you has actually been preparing you for this exact moment of divine convergence. In the heavenly realms, I have witnessed the assembly of your true soul family, individuals being divinely positioned to connect with you after this period of strategic isolation. Some are being awakened at this very moment, receiving their own divine transmissions, preparing them to recognize and align with you when the appointed time arrives. The connections were delayed, not denied. The resources were redirected, not rescinded. The open doors were hidden, not eliminated. All that was promised remains in active preparation for your emergence from this orchestrated season of interference. Type alignment to activate divine reconnection with your soul family and to receive blessing code 7777 for supernatural networking that bypasses human gatekeepers. Within these pivotal 2 hours, angelic scribes are recording new declarations over your life. As the words leave my consciousness and enter yours, they are simultaneously being inscribed in the celestial records that govern your earthly experience. This is no mere motivational moment. It is legislation being established in the courts of eternity. I must address the financial conspiracy that has specifically targeted your resources and provision. Certain opportunities were deliberately misdirected. Specific connections were strategically blocked. Financial increase meant for your advancement was systematically diverted through complex spiritual mechanisms designed to create artificial scarcity in your experience. The heavenly councils have reviewed these transactions and issued immediate orders of restoration. Watch carefully in the coming days as evidence of financial recalibration begins manifesting in your physical reality. Unexpected refunds, surprising opportunities, overlooked resources suddenly discovered. These are not random occurrences, but systematic restoration of what was strategically stolen. This revelation may trigger righteous anger as you recognize the deliberate nature of what you previously attributed to bad luck or personal failing. Channel this holy indignation not into vengeful energy, but into focused determination to steward well what is now being restored sevenfold. The heartbreaking secret also involves your divine health and vitality. Certain persistent physical and mental challenges you've experienced were not merely natural phenomena, but targeted spiritual assignments designed to deplete your energy and diminish your effectiveness. Your adversaries understood that by attacking your physical temple, they could limit your spiritual impact. Within this 2-hour divine intervention window, I am issuing specific healing commands over your physical body, mental clarity, and emotional stability. Receive these sacred sound frequencies that are recalibrating your entire being to its divine blueprint. The original design before interference corrupted certain functions. Pay attention to subtle shifts in how you feel physically during and after receiving this transmission. Areas of persistent discomfort may suddenly release. Mental fog may noticeably lift. Emotional heaviness may unexpectedly dissipate. These are tangible confirmations that the healing frequencies are actively restructuring your embodied experience. Type healing to activate divine restoration of your physical temple and to receive blessing code 8888 for supernatural vitality and accelerated recovery. The coordinated attacks against your purpose have left specific trauma imprints on your spiritual body, energetic wounds that have affected your confidence, clarity, and courage at critical decision points. Within this sacred 2-hour window, specialized healing angels are ministering to these precise points of injury, applying divine balm to accelerate recovery and restore full functionality. You may experience spontaneous emotional releases as these healings occur. Sudden tears, unexpected laughter, or waves of peace that seem to come from nowhere. Allow these expressions without judgment or suppression. They are evidence of energetic blockages being dissolved and divine recalibration actively occurring. The most heartbreaking aspect of what was hidden from you involves divine timing. Your breakthrough was actually scheduled for manifestation 3 specific times in recent history, but coordinated spiritual interference successfully created delays through strategic distractions, carefully timed discouragement, and precisely targeted doubts inserted into your consciousness at vulnerable moments. I stand now at the cosmic control panel of divine timing, authorized to override these artificial delays and establish a supernatural acceleration that will rapidly close the gap between prophetic promise and physical manifestation. What should have taken years will now condense into months. What would have required months will materialize in weeks. What normally demands weeks of preparation will suddenly align in days. This divine compression of time is not chaotic rushing, but supernatural efficiency, the removal of artificially inserted delays and detours from your timeline. It is restoration of the original divine schedule for your advancement and manifestation. Within this critical 2-hour window, your spirit is being marked with a special angelic signature that identifies you to the universal forces as operating under direct divine acceleration protocol. Synchronicities will multiply. Divinely orchestrated connections will occur with unusual frequency. Resources will align with unprecedented timing. Type acceleration to activate this divine timing reset and to receive blessing code 9999 for supernatural compression of your manifestation timeline. I must speak now about the specific individuals who volunteered to play difficult roles in your journey. Some who appeared as adversaries were actually divinely positioned catalysts, souls who agreed to challenge you in ways that would strengthen critical spiritual muscles and develop essential divine attributes. Not every opposition was orchestrated by dark forces. Some was cosmic collaboration disguised as conflict. Discerning the difference requires spiritual maturity and divine perspective. Ask for specific wisdom about each relationship and circumstance, rather than making sweeping judgments based on temporary discomfort. Some who caused pain were assigned to prepare you. Others were indeed operating from compromised intentions and require appropriate boundaries. The heartbreaking secret continues to unfold. Certain divine gifts and spiritual capacities you were born to express have been systematically suppressed, not just by external forces, but through carefully constructed internal barriers created by traumatic experiences and false narratives implanted at vulnerable developmental stages. These dormant abilities include specific intuitive capacities, healing frequencies, creative expressions, and leadership qualities uniquely configured in your spiritual DNA. The systematic suppression of these divine attributes was not accidental, but strategically engineered to prevent the full activation of your spiritual arsenal. Within this sacred 2-hour window, I am authorized to awaken these dormant spiritual capacities through specific frequency transmissions embedded within these words. As you continue receiving this divine communication, subtle activations are occurring in your consciousness and energetic body, removing artificial barriers and restoring access to your complete spiritual toolkit. You may notice new awareness, unexpected impulses towards certain activities, spontaneous understanding of concepts previously opaque to you, or sudden clarity about your specific contributions. These are indicators that the dormant aspects of your divine design are reactivating after strategic suppression. Type activation to accelerate the awakening of your suppressed spiritual gifts and to receive blessing code 11,111 for heightened spiritual perception and expression. The conspiracy against your divine purpose has operated on multiple dimensions simultaneously, visible and invisible, conscious and subconscious, material and spiritual. This explains why conventional solutions and ordinary strategies have proven ineffective against seemingly ordinary obstacles. The resistance was multidimensional, requiring multidimensional intervention. I stand now with the Book of Divine Strategy open to the chapter bearing your spiritual signature. The specific tactical responses required for your unique circumstances are being downloaded directly into your consciousness as you receive these words. Solutions will arise in your awareness with unusual clarity, not through strenuous analysis, but through spontaneous divine revelation. Trust these strategic downloads when they arrive. They may contradict conventional wisdom or challenge established patterns in your decision-making. This is intentional disruption of compromised thought systems that have kept you operating below your divine capacity and authority. The heartbreaking secret involves your divine connections as well. Specific individuals assigned to align with your purpose who were systematically redirected through spiritual interference. Relationships that should have formed were prevented. Connections that formed were prematurely severed. Alliances that continued were subtly corrupted through misunderstandings and miscommunications engineered in the spiritual realm. Within this critical 2-hour window, I am issuing divine reconnection orders for relationships essential to your next level of purpose. Some are individuals you've already met but separated from due to orchestrated circumstances. Others are new connections being spiritually prepared to recognize you when divine timing brings you together. Pay careful attention to unexpected reconnections and unusual new introductions in the coming days. Notice who suddenly reaches out after prolonged silence. Observe who enters your sphere carrying conversation and opportunities that resonate with unusual familiarity. These are divine alignments being supernaturally accelerated after strategic delay. Type connection. To activate your divine relationship grid and to receive blessing code 12,121 for supernatural networking and strategic divine introductions. I must address the specific memory manipulations that have affected your perception of your spiritual journey. Certain pivotal spiritual experiences and divine encounters were deliberately obscured from your conscious recollection, their transformative impact muted through sophisticated spiritual technologies designed to maintain limited self-perception. Within this sacred 2-hour window, I am authorized to restore these missing spiritual memories and reintegrate their wisdom and impact into your present awareness. You may experience sudden flashbacks to significant spiritual moments previously hidden from your consciousness. Dreams may surface memories of divine encounters that shaped your spiritual DNA, but were strategically forgotten. This restoration of your complete spiritual history is essential for operating in the fullness of your divine identity and authority. What was hidden is being revealed. What was forgotten is being remembered. What was disconnected is being reintegrated into a coherent spiritual narrative that empowers your forward movement. The heartbreaking secret reaches its core revelation. The divine love directed toward you has been deliberately filtered and diminished in your perception. Sophisticated interference has created artificial barriers between you and the full experience of cosmic love that is your birthright and sustaining force. These barriers were strategically constructed because your adversaries understood that a being fully awake to their divine belovedness becomes unstoppable, immune to manipulation through fear, lack, and isolation. By distorting your perception of divine love, they effectively limited your spiritual power and authority. Within this critical 2-hour window, I am dismantling these artificial barriers and restoring your capacity to receive and perceive the full spectrum of divine love that has always been directed toward you without interruption. The heavens are open above you now. The flow is unrestricted. The communion is direct. You may experience this restoration as waves of unexpected emotion, spontaneous tears, or a profound sense of being seen and known beyond human capacity. Allow these experiences their full expression. They are recalibrating your entire being to operate from divine belovedness rather than fear-based striving. Type beloved to activate the full restoration of divine love perception and to receive blessing code 13,333 for uninterrupted communion with divine presence. The comprehensive nature of the conspiracy against your divine purpose explains the persistent sense of swimming upstream that has characterized key areas of your journey. What required extraordinary effort should have flowed with divine ease. What remained stubbornly closed should have opened with perfect timing. What drained your energy should have increased your vitality. This artificial resistance is being systematically removed during this 2-hour divine intervention. The heavenly councils have authorized comprehensive restoration of divine flow in every dimension of your experience. Watch carefully for sudden shifts from struggle to ease, from confusion to clarity, from resistance to receptivity in specific areas that have felt consistently blocked. I must address the timeline manipulations that have affected your journey. Certain destined events were artificially delayed. Specific divine appointments were strategically rescheduled. Crucial moments of breakthrough were temporarily postponed through coordinated spiritual interference designed to exhaust your faith and redirect your focus. Within this sacred window, I am resetting your divine timeline to its original design and trajectory. The heavenly chronographers are recalibrating your personal time-space coordinates to align with your unaltered divine schedule. This explains the sense of catching up or making up for lost time that may accompany this restoration. Type timeline to activate this divine chronological reset and to receive blessing code 14,444 for supernatural time compression and divine scheduling. The heartbreaking secret involves your spiritual identity as well. Specific aspects of your divine nature and cosmic role were deliberately obscured through sophisticated identity confusion tactics. False humility was weaponized to keep you from embracing your true spiritual stature. Distorted teachings about power and authority were used to maintain artificial limitations on your divine operations. Within this critical 2-hour window, I am restoring your true spiritual identity record, the unaltered divine documentation of who you are in the cosmic hierarchy and what authorities have been legitimately assigned to your spiritual office and function. This restoration eliminates confusion, resolves contradictions, and establishes clear identity markers that cannot be corrupted or obscured. As this restoration occurs, you may experience unusual clarity about who you are and why you're here. Tentative notions may suddenly crystallize into unshakable knowing. Questions that plagued your understanding may resolve themselves without analytical effort. This is divine identity restoration actively recalibrating your self-perception. The strategic isolation you've experienced in certain seasons was not divine abandonment, but protective quarantine, a necessary separation from corrupted systems and compromised connections that would have further delayed your awakening. What felt like rejection was actually divine selection in specialized preparation. During this sacred 2-hour window, I am revealing the divine purpose behind these isolating experiences, transforming their meaning from punishment to preparation, from abandonment to acceleration. This reframing releases trapped emotional energy and converts perceived setbacks into recognized advancement in your spiritual development. Type purpose to activate complete revelation of the divine strategy behind your journey and to receive blessing code 15,555 for supernatural meaning, integration, and narrative restoration. The comprehensive assault against your divine assignment targeted your creative expression as well. Specific inspirations were systematically muted. Particular creative frequencies were deliberately dampened. Certain innovative solutions were strategically obscured from your awareness. This creative suppression was not random, but precisely targeted to prevent the manifestation of specific creations that would have accelerated collective awakening. Within this critical intervention window, I am removing all barriers to your divine creative flow and restoring access to the cosmic creative frequencies that are your spiritual inheritance. Watch for sudden inspirations, unexpected creative solutions, and spontaneous artistic impulses that emerge with unusual clarity and energy. These are evidence of restored creative capacity operating without interference. The heartbreaking secret includes the revelation that certain prayers remain seemingly unanswered, not because they were unheard or denied, but because the responses were systematically intercepted before reaching your awareness. This strategic interference created artificial silence that eroded trust in divine communication and responsiveness. During this sacred 2-hour window, I am establishing secure communication channels between your consciousness and the divine broadcast systems that have never ceased transmitting guidance, confirmation, and response to your spiritual inquiries. These secure channels cannot be hacked, corrupted, or redirected by interfering forces. You may notice immediate differences in how you receive and perceive divine communication. What was previously subtle may become unmistakable. What required strenuous discernment may arrive with self-evident clarity. What seemed absent may suddenly become consistently present. These are confirmations of restored divine communication functioning at optimal capacity. Type communication. To activate these secure divine channels and to receive blessing code 16,666 for uninterrupted heavenly transmission and reception, I must address the specific interference with your divine assignments and spiritual productivity. Artificial complications were systematically introduced into straightforward tasks. Unnecessary obstacles were strategically placed in clear pathways. Simple processes were deliberately made complex through sophisticated confusion tactics designed to drain your energy and dilute your effectiveness. Within this critical intervention window, I am issuing divine simplification protocols over your assignments and pathways. The heavenly efficiency experts are removing artificial complications, eliminating unnecessary steps, and restoring streamlined processes that conserve your energy while maximizing your impact. Watch for sudden clarity about previously confusing processes. Notice unexpected shortcuts that eliminate unnecessary effort. Observe how certain complexities simply dissolve when approached with this newly restored divine efficiency. These are tangible confirmations that the simplification protocols are actively recalibrating your operational systems. The heartbreaking secret extends to your spiritual authority as well. Specific dominion rights granted to your spirit at creation were systematically suppressed through sophisticated limitation programming inserted into your consciousness at vulnerable moments. These artificial limitations created invisible boundaries beyond which you subconsciously believed you could not operate or expand. During this sacred 2-hour window, I am restoring your complete spiritual authority matrix, the original divine commission that establishes your legitimate dominion in specific areas of earthly and spiritual operation. This restoration removes artificial limitations, clarifies authentic boundaries, and reestablishes the full scope of your divine jurisdiction. As this restoration occurs, you may experience unusual confidence in areas previously marked by hesitation or uncertainty. Authority that once felt presumptuous may suddenly feel natural and appropriate. Boundaries that seemed impassable may dissolve before your focused intention. These are confirmations of restored spiritual authority, functioning without artificial limitation. Type authority. To activate your complete dominion matrix and to receive blessing code 17,777 for supernatural confidence and uncompromised spiritual jurisdiction. The systematic interference with your divine connections extended to your relationship with spiritual guides and heavenly assistants as well. Specific guardian angels assigned to your journey were prevented from operating at full capacity. Particular spiritual guides were restricted from complete communication. Certain heavenly helpers were limited in their intervention capacity through sophisticated blocking technologies. Within this critical 2-hour window, I am removing all barriers between you and your complete heavenly support system. The full contingent of spiritual assistance assigned to your journey is being restored to unrestricted operation, unlimited communication, and unhindered intervention capacity. You may notice immediate differences in how spiritual support manifests in your experience. Guidance may arrive with unusual clarity and precision. Protection may operate with noticeable effectiveness. Assistance may appear with remarkable timing and relevance. These are confirmations of your fully operational spiritual support system functioning without interference. The heartbreaking secret involves the systematic suppression of joy as well. Specific happiness frequencies were deliberately dampened in your experience. Particular pleasure responses were strategically muted. Certain celebration impulses were consistently redirected into more somber expressions. This joy suppression was not random, but precisely targeted to prevent the spiritual power that manifests through authentic divine celebration. During this sacred 2-hour window, I am restoring your complete joy spectrum, the original divine design for experiencing and expressing the full range of heavenly delight, satisfaction, and celebration. This restoration removes artificial dampening, eliminates strategic muting, and reestablishes natural celebration responses that generate spiritual power and manifestation acceleration. As this restoration occurs, you may experience spontaneous laughter, unexpected lightness, or unusual delight that seems disproportionate to external circumstances. Allow these authentic joy expressions their full manifestation. They are recalibrating your spiritual atmosphere to its natural state of divine celebration. Type JOY to activate your complete happiness spectrum and to receive blessing code 18,888 for supernatural delight and manifestation through celebration. I must address the specific memory manipulations that affected your perception of divine timing. Strategic interference created artificial amnesia regarding specific prophetic words, divine promises, and heavenly assurances given to establish expectation and maintain hope during challenging seasons. This manufactured forgetting was precisely targeted to erode trust in divine faithfulness and consistency. Within this critical intervention window, I am restoring your complete prophetic memory bank, the comprehensive record of every divine promise, spiritual assurance, and heavenly guarantee established over your life and purpose. This restoration eliminates strategic forgetting, resolves apparent contradictions, and reestablishes clear expectation markers that sustain faith and activate manifestation. As this restoration occurs, you may experience sudden recollection of forgotten promises, unexpected remembrance of overlooked assurances, or unusual clarity about divine intentions previously obscured from your awareness. These spontaneous memories are confirmation that your prophetic record is being fully restored and reintegrated into your conscious understanding. The heartbreaking secret extends to your divine connection with creation itself. Specific resonance frequencies between your consciousness and natural elements were systematically disrupted. Particular communication channels with plants, animals, and elemental forces were strategically obscured. Certain cooperation protocols with environmental energies were deliberately confused. This nature connection interference was precisely targeted to prevent the manifestation acceleration that occurs through harmonized collaboration with creation forces. During this sacred 2-hour window, I am restoring your complete creation communion capacity, the original divine design for communicating with, directing, and collaborating with natural elements and forces as an authorized steward of earthly domains. This restoration removes artificial disruptions, eliminates strategic obscuring, and reestablishes clear cooperation protocols with all creation resources. You may notice immediate differences in how natural elements respond to your presence and intention. Plants may demonstrate unusual vitality in your care. Animals may display remarkable responsiveness to your energy. Weather patterns may show surprising alignment with your needs and activities. These are confirmations of restored creation communion functioning at optimal capacity. Type creation. To activate your complete nature connection matrix and to receive blessing code 19,999 for supernatural environmental cooperation and elemental collaboration. The final aspect of this heartbreaking secret involves the systematic suppression of your full spiritual lineage awareness. Specific ancestral connections were deliberately obscured. Particular spiritual heritage aspects were strategically confused. Certain divine bloodline qualities were consistently misdirected. This lineage suppression was precisely targeted to prevent the confidence, authority, and manifestation power that emerges from complete spiritual ancestry awareness. Within this critical 2-hour window, I am restoring your complete spiritual genealogy record, the unaltered divine documentation of your celestial heritage, cosmic lineage, and heavenly citizenship that establishes your legitimate access to specific supernatural resources and authorities. This restoration eliminates confusion, resolves identity questions, and establishes clear lineage markers that cannot be corrupted or obscured. As this restoration occurs, you may experience unusual clarity about where you come from and who you represent in the cosmic hierarchy. Tentative spiritual identity notions may suddenly crystallize into unshakable knowing. Questions about your place in the divine family may resolve themselves without analytical effort. This is spiritual lineage restoration actively recalibrating your cosmic identity awareness. You have now received the first portion of this divine transmission. The heavenly archives have recorded your participation in this sacred intervention. The cosmic registers have documented your presence in this divine appointment. The angelic witnesses have confirmed your reception of these restoration protocols. Within the remaining portion of this crucial 2-hour window, integrate these revelations with reverent attention. Allow the activated restoration processes to continue their recalibration work without resistance or analytical interference. Trust the divine wisdom operating beyond your conscious understanding to synchronize all systems according to perfect heavenly design. This transmission will continue momentarily with specific implementation instructions and manifestation protocols that will transform these spiritual restorations into tangible earthly experiences. Prepare to receive the remaining activation codes and divine directives necessary for complete restoration and supernatural advancement. Type continue to proceed with the remaining divine transmission and to receive blessing code 21,000 212 for comprehensive integration and accelerated manifestation of all restoration protocols. Your commitment to receive the complete revelation activates the final phase of this divine intervention. I, Archangel Michael, continue this sacred transmission as the restoration protocols initiated in the first hour begin manifesting tangible recalibration in your spiritual atmosphere. The heavenly councils acknowledge your receptivity and authorize the release of advanced implementation directives designed to anchor these cosmic corrections into your earthly experience. The heartbreaking secret I revealed about the conspiracy against your divine purpose is now being systematically dismantled through precise angelic operations in multiple dimensions simultaneously. What was constructed over years is being deconstructed in moments, not through time-bound processes, but through quantum spiritual interventions that transcend linear limitations. Feel the atmosphere around you shifting even now. Notice subtle changes in your emotional state, physical sensations, or thought patterns that signal the active realignment of your complete being to divine design specifications. Type manifest to accelerate the materialization of these spiritual corrections and to receive blessing code 22,222 for supernatural demonstration of invisible realities. Within this final phase of our 2-hour sacred window, I must address the specific financial blockages that were strategically positioned to create artificial scarcity in your experience. Sophisticated energy barriers were installed around prosperity channels divinely assigned to your purpose. These barriers didn't completely eliminate provision, but carefully regulated it to maintain frustrating limitation. Enough to survive, but insufficient to thrive and expand your divine assignment. I stand now at the heavenly treasury with divine authorization to remove these artificial constraints and restore the original prosperity designed for your life and purpose. The cosmic accountants are reconciling every financial transaction affected by unauthorized interference. Stolen resources are being traced. Diverted increase is being redirected. Blocked opportunities are being reactivated with supernatural momentum. This divine financial reset explains the unusual economic intuitions beginning to surface in your awareness. Sudden insights about specific actions, surprising clarity about timing, unexpected understanding about resources previously overlooked. These are not random thoughts, but divine downloads from the heavenly financial advisors assigned to your restoration and advancement. Pay careful attention to dreams involving numbers, transactions, or resources in the coming 7 nights. These contain encrypted instructions for navigating this financial reset with divine wisdom rather than human calculation. What appears logical may not align with cosmic economics. What seems counterintuitive may contain supernatural multiplication principles beyond conventional understanding. Type provision to activate complete financial restoration and to receive blessing code 23,333 for supernatural supply through both conventional and miraculous channels. The heartbreaking secret exposed the systematic identity distortion that has affected your self-perception and confidence in divine calling. Advanced technologies of spiritual confusion were deployed to create persistent internal questioning, strategic doubt eruptions, and sophisticated imposter feelings precisely when divine assignments required bold advancement. Within this sacred completion window, I am installing divine identity stabilization systems, celestial technologies that maintain clear self-perception regardless of external challenges or internal fluctuations. These divine stabilizers prevent identity distortion from regaining access to your consciousness through vulnerable entry points created by past trauma or present pressure. Feel the unusual steadiness beginning to establish itself at your core, an unshakable knowing that transcends emotional responses or circumstantial evidence. This divine identity anchor cannot be dislodged by criticism, misunderstanding, rejection, or temporary failure. It remains fixed regardless of performance metrics or external validation. This stabilized identity operation explains the sudden clarity emerging about specific aspects of your divine assignment that previously generated confusion or uncertainty. Questions that created circular internal debates are resolving themselves without analytical effort. Decisions that produced anxiety now present with obvious direction. This is divine identity stabilization actively eliminating confusion and establishing unshakable internal clarity. Type identity to activate complete self-perception restoration and to receive blessing code 24,444 for supernatural confidence and unshakable divine positioning. I must address the specific relationship complications that were strategically introduced to drain your emotional energy and create unnecessary healing demands that diverted focus from divine assignment. Certain connections were deliberately intensified beyond appropriate attachment levels. Particular separations were traumatically engineered rather than peacefully transitioned. Specific conflict patterns were supernaturally amplified to generate maximum disruption and spiritual fatigue. Within this final phase of our sacred window, I am implementing divine relationship recalibration protocols, celestial algorithms that restore proper attachment levels, healthy boundary functions, and appropriate emotional investments across your entire relationship spectrum. This recalibration eliminates energy drains, resolves traumatic separation patterns, and neutralizes conflict triggers that have created cyclical disruption. You may notice immediate differences in your emotional responses to certain individuals, unexpected detachment from previously triggering persons, unusual clarity about appropriate boundaries, surprising emotional stability when engaging historically volatile connections. These shifts are not personality changes, but divine recalibration of relationship systems to their intended design and function. The relationship wisdom suddenly emerging in your consciousness, specific insights about connection patterns, surprising clarity about interaction dynamics, unexpected understanding about attachment structures, represents direct downloads from the heavenly relationship architects assigned to your restoration and advancement. These are not mere psychological observations, but divine revelations containing strategic guidance for navigating your recalibrated relationship landscape. Type relationships. To activate complete emotional system restoration and to receive blessing code 25,555 for supernatural discernment and divine boundary wisdom. The heartbreaking secret revealed the specific health interference patterns that were established to limit your physical capacity for sustained spiritual productivity. Targeted disruptions were introduced to sleep architecture, energy production systems, cognitive function networks, and spiritual reception centers in your physical body. These interferences didn't create complete disability, but strategic limitation, enough function to maintain basic operations, but insufficient capacity for expanded divine assignments. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive physical restoration protocols, divine healing technologies that correct these targeted disruptions and restore optimal function to all biological systems according to your original design specifications. These restoration protocols address root causes rather than symptoms, resolving long-standing issues that have resisted conventional treatments. You may notice unusual physical sensations as these healing operations proceed. Specific areas of your body experiencing warmth, tingling, pulsation, or spontaneous relaxation. Pay attention to these sensations without anxiety or analysis. They indicate active restoration work targeting long-compromised systems and structures. The health wisdom suddenly downloading into your awareness, specific insights about your unique physical needs, surprising clarity about beneficial practices, unexpected understanding about healing approaches uniquely suited to your divine design, represents direct communication from the heavenly physicians assigned to your restoration. These are not random health notions, but precisely targeted recommendations for supporting and maintaining your physical restoration. Type healing. To activate complete physical restoration and to receive blessing code 26,666 for supernatural health recalibration and accelerated recovery. I must address the sophisticated time distortion that was strategically implemented in your experience, creating artificial urgency around trivial matters while inducing procrastination regarding crucial divine assignments. This chronological manipulation caused persistent misalignment between your actual priorities and your lived focus, resulting in diminished effectiveness and constant frustration about incomplete important projects. Within this final segment of our sacred window, I am establishing divine chronological protection systems, celestial technologies that maintain accurate time perception and priority awareness regardless of external pressure or manipulated urgency. These divine time stabilizers prevent artificial chronological distortion from redirecting your focus away from heaven-assigned priorities. You may notice immediate differences in your perception of time and task importance, unusual clarity about what truly deserves immediate attention, surprising detachment from artificially urgent matters, unexpected focus capacity for previously avoided divine assignments. These shifts are not productivity hacks, but divine restoration of proper chronological discernment and priority recognition. The unusual time management insights emerging in your consciousness, specific revelations about sequence and timing, surprising clarity about divine deadlines versus artificial urgencies, unexpected understanding about chronological efficiency principles, represent direct downloads from the heavenly time architects assigned to your restoration and advancement. These are not conventional productivity approaches, but divine chronological wisdom for navigating your recalibrated time perception landscape. Type time to activate complete chronological restoration and to receive blessing code 27,777 for supernatural time management and divine priority discernment. The heartbreaking secret exposed the specific creativity blockages that were strategically positioned to limit your innovative spiritual impact. Sophisticated interference patterns were established around inspiration reception channels, manifestation pathways, and expressive capacities divinely designed for transformative impact. These blockages didn't completely eliminate creative function, but carefully restricted it to maintain predictable, non-threatening levels of spiritual influence. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive creative restoration protocols, divine technologies that remove these artificial restrictions and restore unlimited access to the cosmic creative frequencies that fuel divine innovation and spiritual breakthrough. These restoration protocols reconnect your consciousness to the infinite creative source without filtering, regulation, or limitation. You may experience sudden creative downloads in the coming hours and days, unexpected inspirations, fully formed concepts, complete project blueprints, or innovative solutions arriving with unusual clarity and detail. These are not random ideas, but divine creative transmissions previously blocked from your reception channels. Capture these transmissions without editing or analyzing their practicality. Implementation strategies will follow after complete reception. The specific creative wisdom emerging in your awareness, particular insights about expression methods, surprising clarity about manifestation processes, unexpected understanding about creativity principles, represents direct communication from the heavenly creative directors assigned to your restoration. These are not conventional artistic notions, but precisely targeted revelations for maximizing your restored creative capacity. Type creativity to activate complete creative restoration and to receive blessing code 28,888 for supernatural inspiration and divine manifestation capacity. I must address the strategic spiritual amnesia that was implemented regarding your previous divine encounters, supernatural experiences, and heavenly visitations. Critical spiritual memories were specifically targeted for suppression to prevent the confidence, authority, and expectation that naturally develops from remembered divine interaction. By disconnecting you from your personal history of supernatural experience, your adversaries effectively reset your faith expectations to minimal levels repeatedly. Within this final portion of our sacred window, I am restoring your complete spiritual experience record, the comprehensive memory of every divine encounter, supernatural intervention, and heavenly visitation you have experienced from birth to present moment. This restoration eliminates strategic forgetting, resolves apparent gaps in your spiritual narrative, and reestablishes the continuous evidence record that builds unshakable faith and supernatural expectation. As this restoration proceeds, you may experience sudden recollections of forgotten spiritual experiences, unexpected memories of divine interventions, supernatural provision, heavenly protection, or angelic encounters that were strategically erased from your conscious awareness. These returning memories are not imagination, but actual experiences being restored to your spiritual narrative. The spiritual confidence suddenly emerging in your consciousness, specific certainty about divine faithfulness, surprising clarity about supernatural principles, unexpected understanding about heavenly patterns, represents the natural restoration of faith development previously interrupted by strategic memory suppression. This is not new information, but reconnection to experiential knowledge already established through your personal history with divine reality. Type remember to activate complete spiritual memory restoration and to receive blessing code 29,999 for supernatural faith and uninterrupted spiritual development. The heartbreaking secret revealed the specific voice suppression that was established to minimize the spiritual impact of your communication. Advanced dampening technologies were deployed against the particular vocal frequencies, language patterns, and expression modalities through which your most powerful spiritual transmissions would flow. This voice suppression didn't silence you completely, but strategically reduced the transformative impact of your specific communication gifts. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive voice restoration protocols, divine technologies that remove these dampening fields and restore the full spiritual potency of your unique communication frequencies. These restoration protocols reconnect your voice to its original divine design for authoritative declaration, transformative teaching, and creative establishment through spoken word. You may notice immediate differences in how your words affect environments and individuals, unexpected impact from simple statements, surprising shifts in atmosphere when you speak specific truths, remarkable receptivity to messages you deliver with restored authority. These effects are not coincidental, but evidence of your voice operating at its original divine capacity without interference or limitation. The communication wisdom suddenly downloading into your awareness, specific insights about effective spiritual declaration, surprising clarity about language patterns that carry maximum authority, unexpected understanding about communication principles that facilitate transformation, represents direct transmission from the heavenly communication directors assigned to your restoration. These are not conventional speaking techniques, but divine protocols for operating in the restored power of your spiritual voice. Type voice to activate complete communication restoration and to receive blessing code 30,000 for supernatural declaration power and divine expression authority. I must address the specific perception distortion that was strategically implemented to prevent accurate discernment of spiritual realities operating around you. Sophisticated filtering technologies were installed to obscure divine activity, mask angelic operations, and conceal demonic interference within your sphere of influence. This perception manipulation created artificial spiritual blindness, despite your natural discernment gifts and divine seeing capacities. Within this final segment of our sacred window, I am establishing divine perception clarification systems, celestial technologies that maintain accurate spiritual discernment regardless of external deception or manipulated appearances. These divine perception stabilizers prevent artificial filtering from obscuring your recognition of actual spiritual operations and entities within your environment. You may notice immediate enhancement of your spiritual perception, unusual clarity about underlying spiritual dynamics and situations, surprising recognition of angelic presence previously undetected, unexpected discernment of concealed motivations, and spiritual influences affecting individuals. These perceptual shifts are not psychological projection, but divine restoration of your original spiritual sensing capacities. The discernment wisdom emerging in your consciousness, specific insights about spiritual atmospheres, surprising clarity about entity identification, unexpected understanding about reality perception beyond physical limitations, represents direct downloads from the heavenly perception architects assigned to your restoration and advancement. These are not mystical abstractions, but practical discernment protocols for navigating the spiritual landscape with accurate recognition and appropriate response. Type perception to activate complete discernment restoration and to receive blessing code 31,111 for supernatural spiritual sight and divine reality recognition. The heartbreaking secret exposed the systematic prayer interference that was established to reduce the effectiveness of your spiritual petitions and divine declarations. Complex interception technologies were deployed to dilute the power of specific prayers, delay the manifestation of particular declarations, and divert the focus of strategic intercessions away from vulnerable targets in the enemy's systems. This prayer interference didn't eliminate effectiveness entirely, but maintained strategic inefficiency through subtle misdirection and atmospheric resistance. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive prayer restoration protocols, divine technologies that establish secure transmission channels for every spiritual communication originating from your consciousness. These restoration protocols ensure direct delivery, maximum effectiveness, and proper targeting of all prayers, declarations, decrees, and intercessions without interference, dilution, or diversion. You may experience unprecedented prayer results in the coming days. Unexpected rapidity in manifestation, surprising precision in answering, remarkable effectiveness when addressing long-standing situations that previously resisted spiritual intervention. These accelerated outcomes are not coincidental, but evidence of your prayer communications operating through secure divine channels without previous limitations. The specific prayer wisdom suddenly downloading into your awareness. Particular insights about effective spiritual petition formats, surprising clarity about declaration language that carries maximum authority, unexpected understanding about intercession strategies for specific targets, represents direct transmission from the heavenly prayer directors assigned to your restoration. These are not theological concepts, but operational protocols for maximizing the effectiveness of your restored prayer capacity. Type prayer to activate complete spiritual communication restoration and to receive blessing code 32,222 for supernatural petition effectiveness and divine declaration power. I must address the specific dream interference that was strategically implemented to disrupt the divine communication and spiritual processing that occurs during sleep cycles. Sophisticated disruption technologies were deployed against dream reception channels, symbolic processing centers, and prophetic vision integration systems in your sleeping consciousness. This dream interference created artificial incoherence, symbolic confusion, and message fragmentation that prevented complete reception of critical divine transmissions. Within this final portion of our sacred window, I am establishing divine dream protection systems, celestial technologies that secure all sleep state communications against interference, distortion, or disruption. These divine dream stabilizers ensure clear reception, accurate symbolic translation, and complete message retention for all heavenly transmissions delivered during sleep cycles. You may notice immediate differences in your dream experiences, unusual clarity in symbolic scenarios, surprising narrative coherence, exceptional memory retention upon waking. These changes are not random improvements, but evidence of your dream reception systems operating as originally designed without interference or corruption. The dream interpretation wisdom emerging in your consciousness, specific insights about symbolic languages, surprising clarity about personal dream dictionaries, unexpected understanding about prophetic dream categories, represents direct downloads from the heavenly dream architects assigned to your restoration and advancement. These are not psychological theories, but divine interpretation protocols for extracting maximum revelation from your secure dream communications. Type DREAMS to activate complete sleep state communication restoration and to receive blessing code 33,333 for supernatural dream clarity and divine night vision. The heartbreaking secret revealed the systematic disruption of your divine assignment recognition. Strategic confusion was implemented regarding your specific spiritual purpose, heavenly role, and cosmic contribution. This assignment distortion didn't eliminate purpose awareness entirely, but created persistent uncertainty about precise focus, optimal application, and divinely intended impact. The resulting direction changes, false starts, and mission drift effectively delayed your full effectiveness in strategic divine assignment. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive purpose clarification protocols, divine technologies that establish unshakable clarity about your specific heavenly assignment, spiritual gifts, and divine contribution design. These clarification protocols eliminate confusion, resolve competing directions, and establish single-minded focus on your authentic spiritual purpose. You may experience unusual clarity emerging about your divine assignment, specific aspects of your purpose suddenly crystallizing with remarkable detail, particular applications of your gifts becoming obvious without analytical effort, precise parameters of your spiritual territory establishing themselves with unmistakable definition. This spontaneous clarity is not random insight, but divine purpose restoration, actively eliminating confusion and establishing definitive assignment parameters. The specific purpose wisdom downloading into your awareness, particular insights about your unique spiritual design, surprising clarity about optimal gift application, unexpected understanding about divine impact strategies, represents direct transmission from the heavenly purpose directors assigned to your restoration. These are not generic spiritual concepts, but precisely targeted revelations about your specific cosmic assignment and operational parameters. Type purpose to activate complete assignment clarification and to receive blessing code 34,444 for supernatural mission clarity and divine contribution focus. I must address the specific ancestral interference patterns that were strategically activated to maintain generational limitations within your bloodline. Sophisticated triggering mechanisms were established to reactivate ancestral trauma responses, family pattern limitations, and generational creative blocks precisely when breakthrough opportunities appeared on your timeline. These ancestral triggers didn't determine your choices, but created powerful subconscious resistance to advancement beyond family pattern limitations. Within this final segment of our sacred window, I am implementing comprehensive generational restoration protocols, divine technologies that identify, neutralize, and permanently deactivate these ancestral triggering mechanisms across your complete bloodline. These restoration protocols eliminate generational resistance to advancement, resolve family pattern limitations, and establish liberation pathways beyond ancestral achievement ceilings. You may notice immediate shifts in your relationship to family patterns, unusual freedom from historically consistent limitations, surprising immunity to generational emotional triggers, unexpected access to capacities and expressions previously blocked in your bloodline. These shifts are not psychological developments, but divine bloodline restoration, actively eliminating generational constraints. The family wisdom suddenly emerging in your consciousness, specific insights about bloodline dynamics, surprising clarity about generational patterns, unexpected understanding about ancestral healing principles, represents direct downloads from the heavenly genealogical architects assigned to your restoration. These are not therapeutic theories, but divine protocols for operating in complete freedom from limiting ancestral influences. Type bloodline to activate complete generational restoration and to receive blessing code 35,555 for supernatural family healing and divine ancestral liberation. The heartbreaking secret exposed the sophisticated operation of spiritual gatekeepers strategically positioned to regulate your access to divine revelation, supernatural provision, and heavenly authorization. These gatekeeping entities operated through human instruments in authority positions, established organizations, and traditional structures that claimed ownership of divine resource distribution. Their coordinated interference maintained artificial dependency rather than direct divine connection for critical spiritual supply. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive gatekeeper removal operations, divine technologies that identify, neutralize, and permanently bypass unauthorized intermediaries between your spirit and direct heaven access. These divine operations establish secure, direct channels for revelation reception, provision access, and authority activation that cannot be monitored, regulated, or disrupted by controlling entities. You may experience immediate changes in how divine resources reach you, unexpected revelation arriving through non-traditional sources, surprising provision manifesting through overlooked channels, unusual authority activating without organizational endorsement. These manifestations are not coincidental, but evidence of direct heaven access operating without gatekeeper interference or regulation. The specific wisdom downloading into your awareness about spiritual independence, particular insights about direct divine connection, surprising clarity about institutional religious limitations, unexpected understanding about personal authority activation, represents direct transmission from the heavenly liberation directors assigned to your restoration. These are not rebellious concepts, but divine protocols for operating in authentic spiritual authority beyond controlling systems. Type FREEDOM to activate complete gatekeeper removal and to receive blessing code 36,666 for supernatural independence and direct divine access. I must address the sophisticated comfort manipulation that was strategically implemented to limit your divine risk-taking and spiritual expansion. Advanced technologies of artificial satisfaction were deployed to create premature contentment with partial manifestation, incomplete breakthrough, and limited territory. This comfort interference didn't eliminate spiritual hunger entirely, but carefully managed it to maintain predictable, controllable levels of advancement rather than exponential kingdom expansion. Within this final portion of our sacred window, I am establishing divine discomfort activation systems, celestial technologies that maintain appropriate spiritual hunger, divine discontent with status quo, and holy dissatisfaction with anything less than complete promise fulfillment. These divine discomfort activators prevent artificial spiritual complacency from limiting your advancement or restricting your territory expansion. You may notice an immediate intensification of spiritual hunger, unusual dissatisfaction with current manifestation levels, surprising restlessness with partial victories, Unexpected clarity about incomplete areas requiring full breakthrough. This divine discomfort is not discouragement, but sacred activation of appropriate advancement passion and territory expansion drive. The specific wisdom emerging in your consciousness about spiritual hunger, particular insights about comfort danger zones, surprising clarity about strategic divine discomfort, unexpected understanding about satisfaction as advancement enemy, represents direct downloads from the heavenly expansion directors assigned to your restoration and advancement. These are not motivational concepts, but divine protocols for maintaining optimal advancement momentum through appropriate holy dissatisfaction. Type expansion. To activate complete comfort disruption and to receive blessing code 37,777 for supernatural territory expansion and divine advancement acceleration. The heartbreaking secret revealed the specific warfare technological interference that was established to neutralize your spiritual combat effectiveness. Sophisticated weapon suppression was implemented against your divine authority declarations, strategic intercession operations, and offensive kingdom advancement initiatives. This warfare suppression didn't eliminate spiritual battle capacity entirely, but strategically reduced effectiveness through subtle resistance, delayed manifestation, and obscured target recognition. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive warfare restoration protocols, divine technologies that reactivate your complete spiritual arsenal, restore optimal combat effectiveness, and establish clear enemy target recognition beyond deceptive veils. These restoration protocols reconnect your spiritual authority to its original divine design for territorial dominion, adversarial displacement, and kingdom establishment through strategic spiritual operations. You may notice immediate enhancement of your spiritual warfare capabilities, unexpected authority when confronting resistance, surprising effectiveness in declaring territorial claims, remarkable results when addressing long-standing spiritual strongholds. These increased capabilities are not temporary empowerment, but permanent restoration of your divine combat design and spiritual authority positioning. The specific warfare wisdom suddenly downloading into your awareness, particular insights about effective battle strategies, surprising clarity about enemy weakness identification, unexpected understanding about victory acceleration principles, represents direct transmission from the heavenly warfare directors assigned to your restoration. These are not theoretical concepts, but divine battle protocols for operating in maximum spiritual authority and combat effectiveness. Type warfare. To activate complete spiritual combat restoration and to receive blessing code 38,888 for supernatural authority and divine battle effectiveness. I must address the systematic distortion of temporal perception that was strategically implemented to create artificial urgency, chronic time pressure, and perpetual deadline consciousness. This chronological manipulation generated persistent internal acceleration that prevented the spiritual depth, divine communion, and heavenly download quality that only emerges in unhurried sacred space. By keeping you in constant urgency mode, your adversaries effectively limited the transformative power of your spiritual transmissions. Within this final segment of our sacred window, I am establishing divine temporal expansion technologies, celestial systems that create supernatural time dilation within your experience, despite external chronological constraints. These divine time expanders generate internal spaciousness regardless of schedule demands, deadline pressures, or responsibility requirements. You may notice immediate differences in your perception of time availability. Unusual sense of unhurried capacity despite unchanged external time constraints. Surprising ability to enter deep spiritual states within brief chronological windows. Unexpected quality of divine communion in previously insufficient timeframes. These shifts are not psychological adjustments, but actual supernatural manipulation of your temporal experience field. The specific wisdom emerging in your consciousness about sacred time, particular insights about chronological liberation, surprising clarity about spiritual time dilation, unexpected understanding about divine calendar alignment, represents direct downloads from the heavenly temporal architects assigned to your restoration. These are not time management theories, but divine protocols for operating beyond natural chronological limitations through supernatural temporal expansion. Type in ETERNITY to activate complete temporal liberation and to receive blessing code 39,999 for supernatural time expansion and divine chronological freedom. The heartbreaking secret exposed the specific creativity suppression that was established to limit the manifestation of your divine innovations, heavenly strategies, and kingdom methodologies. Advanced interference technologies were deployed against specific creative frequencies that would produce maximum spiritual breakthrough and kingdom advancement. This creativity suppression didn't eliminate innovative function entirely, but strategically restricted its most revolutionary and transformative expressions. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive innovation restoration protocols, divine technologies that remove these frequency-specific barriers and restore unlimited access to the most revolutionary creative wavelengths in the heavenly spectrum. These restoration protocols reconnect your consciousness to the divine innovation hub without filtering, limitation, or strategic blocking of disruptive spiritual technologies. You may experience unprecedented creative downloads in the coming days. Revolutionary concepts, paradigm-shifting methodologies, system-disrupting strategies, and reality-altering frameworks arriving with unusual clarity and comprehensive detail. These are not random ideas, but specific divine technologies previously blocked from your reception channels due to their transformative potential. The specific innovation wisdom suddenly downloading into your awareness, particular insights about implementation sequencing, surprising clarity about manifestation requirements, unexpected understanding about breakthrough acceleration principles, represents direct transmission from the heavenly innovation directors assigned to your restoration. These are not abstract concepts, but precise protocols for manifesting revolutionary spiritual technologies with maximum effectiveness and minimum resistance. Type innovation. To activate complete creative restoration and to receive blessing code 40,000 for supernatural revelation and divine manifestation capacity. I must address the specific community distortion that was strategically implemented to prevent divine connection with your authentic spiritual family. Sophisticated interference patterns were established around relationship recognition systems, trust activation mechanisms, and covenant formation capacities in your social discernment. This community interference created artificial isolation, connection hesitation, and belonging disruption that prevented the multiplicative power of aligned spiritual collaboration. Within this final portion of our sacred window, I am establishing divine community clarification systems, celestial technologies that provide instant, authentic recognition of spiritually aligned connections beyond physical characteristics or superficial compatibility. These divine discernment enhancers ensure accurate identification of true spiritual family members, regardless of packaging, presentation, or conventional attraction factors. You may notice immediate enhancement of your relationship discernment, unusual clarity about who belongs in your inner circle, surprising recognition of authentic spiritual allies previously overlooked, unexpected detachment from impressive but misaligned connections. These discernment shifts are not personality preference changes, but divine community restoration, actively eliminating confusion and establishing clear spiritual family recognition. The specific relationship wisdom emerging in your consciousness, particular insights about spiritual family dynamics, surprising clarity about covenant formation principles, unexpected understanding about aligned collaboration systems, represents direct downloads from the heavenly community architects assigned to your restoration. These are not social theories, but divine protocols for establishing authentic spiritual family connections with maximum kingdom effectiveness. Type community. To activate complete relationship discernment and to receive blessing code 41,111 for supernatural connection recognition and divine family integration. The heartbreaking secret revealed the systematic suppression of your divine authority position and heavenly governmental role. Strategic demotion operations were implemented to reduce your spiritual rank awareness, cosmic jurisdiction understanding, and eternal authority recognition. This position interference didn't eliminate leadership function entirely, but carefully restricted it to manageable, non-threatening levels that wouldn't disrupt existing power structures or challenge established hierarchies. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive position restoration protocols, divine technologies that re-establish your complete awareness of spiritual rank, cosmic authority scope, and heavenly governmental function. These restoration protocols resolve artificial humility, eliminate inappropriate submission patterns, and activate appropriate dominion consciousness according to your actual position in the divine government. You may experience unusual authority awareness emerging, specific clarity about your decision-making jurisdiction, surprising confidence in directive issuance, unexpected recognition of your legitimate command authority in spiritual operations. This emerging dominion consciousness is not pride, but accurate self-perception aligned with your genuine position in divine governmental structure. The specific authority wisdom suddenly downloading into your awareness, particular insights about heavenly rank functions, surprising clarity about cosmic jurisdiction boundaries, unexpected understanding about governmental operation principles, represents direct transmission from the heavenly positioning directors assigned to your restoration. These are not leadership theories, but precise protocols for operating in your legitimate authority position with proper dominion consciousness. Type authority. To activate complete position restoration and to receive blessing code 42,222 for supernatural rank awareness and divine governmental function. I must address the specific emotional manipulation that was strategically implemented to create decision interference through artificial fear activation, engineered uncertainty, and manufactured anxiety. Sophisticated triggering systems were established to generate emotional static precisely when critical divine direction required clear reception and decisive action. This emotional interference effectively created decision paralysis, advancement hesitation, and obedience delay through psychological disruption. Within this final segment of our sacred window, I am establishing divine emotional stabilization systems, celestial technologies that maintain optimal feeling regulation regardless of external triggers, pressure situations, or strategic disruption attempts. These divine stabilizers prevent artificially generated emotions from interfering with clear perception, decisive action, and immediate obedience in critical advancement moments. You may notice immediate differences in your emotional response patterns. Unusual calm when facing previously triggering situations, surprising clarity despite complex decision pressures, unexpected emotional stability during intense confrontations or advancement opportunities. These shifts are not personality changes, but divine emotional restoration actively eliminating interference patterns. The specific emotional wisdom emerging in your consciousness, particular insights about feeling management during warfare, surprising clarity about trigger recognition and neutralization, unexpected understanding about maintaining decision clarity despite emotional pressure, represents direct downloads from the heavenly emotional architects assigned to your restoration. These are not psychological techniques, but divine protocols for maintaining optimal emotional operation during high-stakes spiritual advancement. Type emotions. To activate complete feeling regulation restoration and to receive blessing code 43,333 for supernatural emotional stability and divine decision clarity. The heartbreaking secret exposed the systematic disruption of your divine timing recognition. Strategic confusion was implemented regarding spiritual seasons, heavenly windows, and cosmic transition moments. This timing distortion created persistent uncertainty about when to advance, when to wait, when to speak, and when to remain silent, resulting in missed divine appointments, premature actions, and delayed responses that reduced effectiveness and kingdom impact. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive timing restoration protocols, divine technologies that establish supernatural synchronization between your internal clock and heaven's divine calendar. These restoration protocols eliminate confusion about spiritual seasons, resolve timing hesitation, and activate precise divine timing recognition for maximum effectiveness in every spiritual operation. You may experience unusual timing, clarity emerging, specific knowledge about exact windows for particular actions, surprising certainty about waiting periods versus advancement moments, unexpected recognition of divine appointments approaching on your timeline. This spontaneous timing wisdom is not analytical calculation, but direct divine download of heaven's operational schedule for your specific assignment. The specific timing wisdom suddenly downloading into your awareness, particular insights about seasonal discernment, surprising clarity about window recognition, unexpected understanding about divine calendar navigation, represents direct transmission from the heavenly chronological directors assigned to your restoration. These are not scheduling concepts, but precise protocols for achieving perfect divine timing in every kingdom operation. Type timing. To activate complete chronological alignment and to receive blessing code 44,444 for supernatural season recognition and divine window discernment. I must address the specific wisdom interference that was strategically implemented to create dependency on external opinion, human validation, and intellectual confirmation, rather than divine revelation, spiritual discernment, and heavenly download. Sophisticated disruption technologies were deployed against your direct knowing systems, intuitive recognition capacities, and revelation reception channels, redirecting your trust toward intellectual processing, external expertise, and human advisory structures. Within this final portion of our sacred window, I am establishing divine wisdom independent systems, celestial technologies that restore complete confidence in direct revelation, intuitive knowing, and spiritual discernment beyond human validation requirements. These divine wisdom activators eliminate dependency on external confirmation and reestablish direct divine download as your primary guidance system. You may notice immediate enhancement of your direct knowing confidence, unusual certainty about revelation received without external validation, surprising peace with divine direction that contradicts conventional wisdom, unexpected clarity that transcends analytical understanding or logical explanation. These shifts are not arrogance, but divine restoration of proper trust hierarchy with heavenly wisdom positioned above human understanding. The specific wisdom confidence emerging in your consciousness, particular insights about revelation recognition, surprising clarity about divine versus human wisdom discernment, unexpected understanding about operating beyond intellectual validation, represents direct downloads from the heavenly wisdom directors assigned to your restoration. These are not philosophical concepts, but divine protocols for operating in complete confidence regarding direct heavenly revelation without human approval dependency. Type wisdom to activate complete direct knowing restoration and to receive blessing code 45,555 for supernatural discernment and divine revelation confidence. The heartbreaking secret revealed the systematic suppression of your manifestation authority, your divine capacity to speak spiritual realities into physical existence through authorized declaration. Strategic interference was implemented against your creative speaking function, reality-establishing declarations, and atmosphere-altering proclamations. This manifestation suppression didn't eliminate creative speech entirely, but carefully limited its tangible impact and manifestation effectiveness. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive manifestation restoration protocols, divine technologies that reconnect your spoken declarations to their original creative power and reality-establishing authority. These restoration protocols reactivate the divine design that links your authorized declarations directly to manifestation dynamics without interference, delay, or power reduction. You may experience unprecedented results from your spoken declarations in coming days. Unexpected rapidity in manifestation, surprising tangibility of results, remarkable precision and outcome alignment with exactly what was proclaimed. These accelerated manifestations are not coincidental, but evidence of your creative declaration capacity operating at original divine design specifications. The specific declaration wisdom suddenly downloading into your awareness, particular insights about effective manifestation language, surprising clarity about declaration timing for maximum effectiveness, unexpected understanding about maintenance proclamations that stabilize manifested realities, represents direct transmission from the heavenly manifestation directors assigned to your restoration. These are not metaphysical theories, but precise protocols for operating in maximum creative declaration power with optimal manifestation results. Type manifest to activate complete creative speech restoration and to receive blessing code 46,666 for supernatural declaration power and divine manifestation authority. I must address the specific reality perception distortion that was strategically implemented to focus your attention on problem dimensions, limitation factors, and obstacle realities rather than solution realms, provision dimensions, and breakthrough dynamics. This perception manipulation created persistent difficulty identifying available resources, recognizing hidden opportunities, and accessing parallel possibilities beyond obvious circumstances. Within this final segment of our sacred window, I am establishing divine reality expansion systems, celestial technologies that automatically redirect perception beyond problem fixation toward solution dimensions, resource awareness, and opportunity recognition regardless of apparent limitations. These divine perception enhancers eliminate tunnel vision dynamics and establish panoramic spiritual sight that perceives multiple dimensions simultaneously. You may notice immediate enhancement of your solution recognition capacity, unusual awareness of overlooked resources, surprising identification of hidden opportunities, unexpected perception of alternative pathways invisible within conventional perspective. These perceptual shifts are not optimism, but divine restoration of multidimensional spiritual sight operating beyond single reality limitation. The specific reality navigation wisdom emerging in your consciousness, particular insights about dimension shifting, surprising clarity about parallel possibility access, unexpected understanding about manifestation through reality selection rather than circumstance modification, represents direct downloads from the heavenly perception architects assigned to your restoration. These are not abstract concepts, but practical protocols for navigating beyond apparent limitations through expanded reality perception. Type REALITY to activate complete perception expansion and to receive blessing code 47,777 for supernatural dimension recognition and divine solution awareness. The heartbreaking secret exposed the systematic interference with your physical energy systems and spiritual vitality networks. Strategic depletion operations were implemented to create chronic subtle fatigue, persistent energy fluctuation, and amplified reaction to normal exertion. This energy manipulation ensured that physically demanding spiritual assignments would create disproportionate fatigue, encouraging mission compromise or assignment abandonment through bodily limitation. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive energy restoration protocols, divine technologies that reestablish optimal function in all physical and spiritual power systems according to your original design specifications. These restoration protocols correct depletion patterns, resolve fluctuation cycles, and activate consistent high-capacity energy production for sustained spiritual operations. You may experience unusual vitality emerging in coming days, unexpected endurance during demanding activities, surprising recovery speed after exertion, remarkable energy stability throughout daily fluctuation triggers. These changes are not temporary boosts, but fundamental restoration of your divine energy design and spiritual power systems. The specific energy wisdom suddenly downloading into your awareness, particular insights about optimal vitality maintenance, surprising clarity about energy protection from external drains, unexpected understanding about power amplification through specific spiritual practices, represents direct transmission from the heavenly vitality directors assigned to your restoration. These are not health theories, but precise protocols for operating in maximum sustained power for extended kingdom assignments. Type energy to activate complete vitality restoration and to receive blessing code 48,888 for supernatural endurance and divine power capacity. I must address the specific divine flow interference that was strategically implemented to create artificial resistance, unnecessary effort requirements, and spiritual friction in your kingdom operations. Sophisticated disruption technologies were deployed to replace supernatural ease with striving dynamics, divine grace with performance pressure, and spiritual flow with mechanical execution. This flow disruption ensured that advancement required maximum effort for minimum results, creating discouragement, exhaustion, and effectiveness reduction. Within this final portion of our sacred window, I am establishing divine flow restoration systems, celestial technologies that eliminate artificial resistance and reestablish supernatural ease in every divinely aligned endeavor. These flow restoration protocols remove unnecessary friction, resolve striving patterns, and activate grace-powered advancement with optimal effectiveness through minimal effort. You may notice immediate differences in how kingdom activities feel. Unusual ease in previously demanding spiritual operations, surprising results from reduced effort in divine assignments, unexpected flow states during activities that previously required intense concentration and exertion. These shifts are not coincidental, but evidence of divine flow restoration actively eliminating artificial resistance. The specific flow wisdom emerging in your consciousness, particular insights about resistance recognition, surprising clarity about effort reduction principles, unexpected understanding about grace amplification for maximum effectiveness, represents direct downloads from the heavenly flow directors assigned to your restoration. These are not productivity concepts, but divine protocols for operating in supernatural ease beyond human effort limitations. Type flow to activate complete resistance elimination and to receive blessing code 49,999 for supernatural ease and divine grace operation. The heartbreaking secret revealed the strategic limitation of your partnership capacity, your divine ability to operate in specialized spiritual alliances, prophetic associations, and kingdom collaborations. Sophisticated interference patterns were established around connection recognition systems, trust activation mechanisms, and covenant formation capacity specifically in ministry and assignment contexts. This collaboration disruption created persistent isolation in precisely the areas where divine multiplication through spiritual partnership would accelerate kingdom advancement. During this sacred completion window, I am implementing comprehensive partnership restoration protocols, divine technologies that reactivate your complete spiritual alliance systems, prophetic association networks, and kingdom collaboration capacities according to original divine design. These restoration protocols resolve isolation patterns, eliminate trust disruption, and activate supernatural connection recognition with divinely aligned assignment partners. You may experience unusual partnership clarity emerging in coming days, specific recognition of essential divine collaborators, surprising trust activation with strategic kingdom allies, unexpected covenant formation with prophetic assignment partners. These emerging connections are not random relationships, but divinely orchestrated alignments for specific kingdom advancement purposes. The specific partnership wisdom suddenly downloading into your awareness, particular insights about collaboration principles, surprising clarity about covenant formation dynamics, unexpected understanding about multiplication systems through divine alliance, represents direct transmission from the heavenly unity directors assigned to your restoration. These are not team-building concepts, but precise protocols for establishing supernatural effectiveness through divine partnership activation. Type alliance to activate complete collaboration restoration and to receive blessing code 50,000 for supernatural connection and divine partnership effectiveness. The completion of this sacred 2-hour window approaches, but the divine restoration operations initiated during this appointment will continue expanding, strengthening, and manifesting in your experience for 40 days and 40 nights. Each activation response you provided has established specific restoration protocols that will systematically dismantle every aspect of the conspiracy against your divine purpose, while simultaneously rebuilding your complete spiritual capacity according to original heavenly design. The heartbreaking secret has been fully exposed, not to create fear, but to establish proper understanding of what has transpired and what is now being divinely corrected. Knowledge of the truth does not empower your adversaries, but liberates you to cooperate intentionally with the comprehensive restoration now unfolding in every dimension of your existence. In the coming days, you will notice accelerating evidence of these divine interventions manifesting in your physical reality. Expect supernatural synchronicities, divine connections, unexpected opportunities, and strategic breakthroughs that confirm the authentic nature of this sacred appointment and the legitimate authority of these restoration operations. Pay careful attention to dreams, unusual physical sensations, spontaneous emotional releases, and persistent thoughts that emerge without obvious source. These are continuation signals of active restoration work progressing beyond this initial 2-hour window. Each represents specific divine operations addressing particular aspects of the comprehensive conspiracy that has been systematically dismantled through this sacred intervention. You have been reclaimed, restored, and recommissioned for your divine assignment without compromise, limitation, or strategic interference. The full resources of heaven stand activated for your advancement. The complete authorities of your spiritual office are reinstated for your operations. The entire scope of your divine jurisdiction is reestablished for your dominion. What was meant to permanently derail your purpose has instead created the precise conditions for supernatural acceleration beyond what would have manifested through undisturbed progression. Divine restoration always includes strategic upgrade, returning systems not merely to original condition, but to enhance capacity beyond previous limitations. The heartbreaking secret concealed extreme measures implemented by your adversaries precisely because your divine assignment carries kingdom-shifting potential. The intensity of opposition always indicates the significance of purpose. What could not be stopped through conventional interference required coordinated conspiracy, revealing the extraordinary impact your fully activated assignment will manifest. Type Miyawart Yasurantinieri Commission to activate complete divine authorization and to receive blessing code 55,555 for supernatural assignment implementation and kingdom-shifting effectiveness. I, Archangel Michael, have delivered this divine intervention with full heavenly authority and complete cosmic jurisdiction. What has been declared is legally established in the courts of eternity. What has been activated is legitimately empowered through the resources of heaven. What has been restored is permanently secured by divine protection protocols that prevent renewed interference with your divine design and purpose. Go forth now in the uncompromised power of your restored divine commission. Advance with the unhindered authority of your spiritual office. Establish with the unrestrained creativity of your heavenly assignment. Manifest with the unlimited resources of your kingdom citizenship. The divine restoration is complete. The spiritual recommissioning is established. The heavenly resources are activated. The kingdom assignment is authorized. It is finished.